Hi, everyone, and welcome to our latest video series, Determining the Right Program for You. I'm Tara Spricker, Marketing Manager at Brightspot Incentive and Events, and I'll be guiding us through this three-part series about channel incentives. In this video, we'll be covering the second part of our series, Open-Ended Programs. If you watch the rest of the series, the faces you're about to see should be familiar. Kelly, Polly, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Thanks, Terrace. Kelly Coons, Director of Incentives here at Brightspot. I manage the team that manages all of our non-travel programs. I've been here for almost 16 years and also serve on the Content and Communications Committee for the Incentive Research Foundation.
I'm Polly Chabra, Senior Program Manager at Brightspot. Been here about 10 years now, specializing in non-travel sales incentive programs.
Well, Polly, there's multiple ways we can approach managing a rewards budget. But we'll start with two of the main structures that we see, opened and closed-ended programs. So why don't we start with open-ended programs and how those are typically structured?
Sure. Typically, open-ended programs are designed to reward anyone who meets a desired goal. So do X, get Y. The more you do of X, the more of Y you can earn. A program structure like this encourages widespread involvement, and with that, can easily create buzz and excitement throughout your organization. Open-ended programs tend to have a stronger effect on what we call the mid-level performers, and can be cost-effective as they scale up with incremental sales growth. Another way you might have heard these described, they're called self-funding programs, meaning they pay for themselves in terms of the return on investment. So typically, they're considered win-win for both the company and the participants. As revenue increases for the company, the rewards increase for the participants.
And what she said about mid-level performers or B-level performers resonates because it really speaks to our move the middle philosophy. Essentially, what that means is organizations are made up of 100%. The top 20% being your A performers, your star performers, are always going to perform. The bottom 20%, your bottom performers are probably never going to do more than the bare minimum. But the middle 60, that is the middle that we speak to, in the middle that can make the most impact on sales and revenue. Why, might you ask? Well, because we know that they're engaged with the brand, they're selling. So they're the ones that can have the most impact by simply performing 5% better. You get 5% more return from the middle 60 than you do from 5% from the top 20.
That's really interesting. So why do you believe that the middle performers are more likely to move the needle than the top or bottom performance?
See, well, mainly because they're the biggest audience segment, so they're going to have the most impact just based on numbers. And we know that they're not underperforming, they're not superstars, but they are engaged. And for that reason, they're the ones that are likely to engage with enticing contests and sales incentives and spiffs. So probably back to you, what would you say about the middle and award structure?
I think for as far as award structure goes, the best way to set up, or the most ideal way to set up your structure, is just making sure you have an opportunity for everyone to earn something. I think naturally your more lucrative awards will be reserved for your top performers, but you always want to make sure there's something incremental in place for mid and lower level performers to keep them engaged and also help bump them into a higher sales tier. Something like a raffle drawing for your lower performers and in smaller time-based awards for middle performers can go a long way in the success of your program. This is where we see a big impact with points-based programs, and that's how they thrive. It's just because it gives everybody a chance to play and everybody a chance to win something.
So what's a point worth?
We usually recommend starting with a value of a nickel a point or 5 cents a point. But in reality, our programs have values that are all over the board and for various reasons. Some programs launched at, let's say, 10 cents a point, but that value needed to flex over the years to fit the budget to reach more people. So I think now that value is right around 6 cents a point. For programs that award prepaid cards, e-gift cards, making a point worth $1 makes a lot of sense because it's so easy to understand. You know, to back into it, I redeem for 960 points. How many dollars is that? But if it's out 1,000 points equals $1,000, we see more engagement, and we know that programs that are simple and easy to understand tend to be the most successful.
Yeah, on that note, I would agree. I think, when you mentioned prepaid cards and gift cards, $1 per point makes sense. I will say that with merchandise programs, it can be a little bit harder because you have to factor in a bunch of
Holly.
Relax KK, I said SHIOT, which stands for Shipping, Handling, Insurance, Admin, and Taxes. So you need to factor in all of these items into your merchandise rewards because they'll vary from state to state, even country to country. Over time, the variables can change what your award value is worth. So specifically with merchandise, it can change greatly from one the time you start your program to when you're halfway through your program to a couple of years into your program. That's why I recommend setting up something a point that it's not as obvious as 1 point per dollar to help kind of facilitate those changes.
So other than awards, what are some other instances that you've seen help keep an audience engaged and the program top of mind?
That is such an important question, and the answer is also so important. Really coming up with a strong communication plan, a communication strategy, just communicating the program in general is paramount. Then we can also employ things like leaderboards to drive competition and engagement, add in non-sales activities like learnings, trainings, completing a simple survey, for instance. Those are all low cost but incredibly high value engagement tools that yield longer engagement, stronger sales in the long run, because we know that a better enabled sales force also sells more too. However, I'll temper that by saying, while they are highly recommended, all of them aren't always a fit if budget is limited. But that's where a close-ended program can tie nicely into controlling budget.
Oh, that's insightful. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you both for being on this today. I really appreciate it. That's all we have time for, but be sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications to watch the rest of the series as soon as it comes out. Again, I'm Tara Spricker, and we'll see you next time.